When you say punishment is the consequence of the crime. I believe that. But when you say punish, do you believe like someone in person? Well, of course, Putin and Shoigu, but do you believe that the Russian nation should be also held accountable for giving the keys to the castle to Putin, for being a new Russian Tsar? Or do you believe that the Russian nation can change in some way after Putin?
No, there is no choice here. This comes together. Yes, Putin and his closest friends have to be punished for crime of aggression. But we are punishing Russians for support to Putin. They say they do not support the crimes, but even standing by the crime,
exactly.
Those bystanders, they are creating all the situation. They are feeding Putin with their daily work, with silence, seeing that crime. So Russians are not allowed to travel. We are introducing new sanctions. Yes, this is slow. We have some fatigue in this area, but never ever in our history we've been punishing Russians as we are punishing today. Tomorrow I will go to Berlin. We'll speak with great Germans who finally, at official level, agreed that Russians is their national security threat, because for many years Russia was the savior of Germany.
Why not to start the punishment with like throwing out Russia from United Nations Security Council and United Nations? Because I was in New York a couple of weeks ago at the United Nations. I've seen them there. And it was outrageous, I believe. And why not to start with this? How can we do that?
I think this is another interest of Ukrainians and Germans, because a country like Germany or India, if you want, if they call themselves democracy, they are not in Security Council. And this organization is created with criminal regime. First of all, Hitler and Stalin created Second World War. So yes, we punished one regime, but with another regime, we made Yaltas. We sacrificed countries like Baltic states, and this needs to be learned. We have to do everything to kick Russia out of Security Council, and this is a big German interest. So let's work with Berlin. I know that sometimes countries like our brothers in Poland, they're not so happy, but I would encourage you to do it with Berlin, with Paris, with London, with all NATO capitals, because finally we have to land in Washington NATO summit with invitation to Ukraine to NATO. So we must do it, and we will do it.
I mean, it's great to hear that, but if that would be up to you, if you would be sitting in, let's say, United Nations Security Council, and you would see that Russia is presiding over it, what would you do? Would you stand out and walk away?
Well, if it will be, according to me, I would create United Nations of Democracies only. And I share the dream, maybe it's too crazy and too radical, of banning autocracies by international law. It's a long way. Now they are fighting back. Now they are uniting and they are starting to kill us, democracies. But I think we will come in one or another scenario to that kind of solution. Maybe it will be global NATO that we are creating. Maybe it will be enlarged EU. Maybe it will be Union of Democracies. But this has to stop. International system is not stopping killer regime from action. So we have to take this responsibility in our hands.
Well, because killer regimes is taking actions, and international society is more like an observer these days. It took more than 1.5 years for my beloved Germany to understand that Russia is an existential threat for Europe and a security threat for Germany. So this is kind of a criminal inaction, I would call. But my next question, and the last question in this session, is Do you believe that all the perpetrators of the terrible crimes of Russia on territory of Ukraine will actually face trial in The Hague or elsewhere?
Of course, it took 12 years for us to convince the West to behave with us in a way they behave right now. It took about 6-7 years for Central Europeans to do the same. It will take some time. I think we are very close. We just need to make one step. In Vilnius NATO summit, we agreed that Ukraine will go Finnish and Swedish way to NATO.
Right.
Nobody else, just Ukraine. So if we do that step in Washington NATO summit, if we open the doors to NATO, if we continue supporting Ukraine for your victory, but first we have to defeat Russia. And this defeat should be tremendous. It should be similar to Hitler's defeat, because I don't think that Putin is getting that he's losing. So we have to prove it, first of all, on the battlefield and with our politics and openness towards Ukraine in EU and NATO, opening all the doors to you because you deserve it wholeheartedly and you defend our own freedom. And for this, we have to at least open the doors of our European and NATO clubs to you, because you will defend our freedom. You are security provider. You are our guardian agents on the Eastern fronts.